Alright nerds, this is another shout-out show, so if you left a comment, you interacted with the channel or the socials or anything like that in the last week, I know the last two shout-out shows got put up like a day apart, and it's because we covered why that was. Either way, I'm caught up now, so let's get into it. That's right. Shout out show, baby. We got to do a couple of the preambles. So first up, if you are a subscriber on the YouTube and you have your content settings or your visibility settings, I guess is more appropriate. If you have your visibility settings set to private, then I can see that you have subscribed, but I don't know who you are because it didn't tell me your name. So I can't give you a shout out if I don't know your name. So there's that. Also, I still don't know how to check on Rumble who the heck is following me on Rumble. So if you're following on Rumble, I appreciate your face, but I don't know who you are. And I mean, the other platforms are basically dead. So yeah, I think that's what we got to do for the preamble. So let's get into this stuff. Over on the main channel, we only have one new subscriber who has their stuff set to public, and that is Bill S. Thank you very much, Bill S. You are much appreciated. Just being awesome for subscribing and stuff. And then over on the second channel, Nerd News Clips, where all the short bits go, we have a few people who have set their stuff to public, and we're going to start at the top, and that is Kim Pod. We have KimpTown Cadillac, Elijah Acosta, Mare's Dreams, and Steven Santiago. Thank you very much, nerds, for the subscriptions. I love your face. That is what we have as far as new subscribers and followers and such. So let's get into the comments section of the shout out show, shall we? All right, so first up, short about the Venture Brothers movie that actually I believe went up a couple of weeks ago, so thank you algorithm for keeping that stuff alive. But from Kim Pod, who is a new subscriber as well, Kim Pod says, if sales do good, would there be more? Because we're talking about in the short how the movie for the Venture Brothers is still on track. We got an update from Jackson Public, I believe about 2, maybe 3 weeks ago, saying they're still working on it, it's still a thing, it's gonna happen. Reasons to be excited, and apparently Kim Pod is a fan of the series and hopes that should the end of the movie come around and everybody watches it, you know, however many millions of subscribers they have over on HBO Max, then maybe they'll see that it's popular and they'll do more. And as much as I also am that hopeful, I'm also I have a little bit more information than some, I guess, because they have said in no uncertain terms that is not happening. This movie is the conclusion of the story of the Venture Brothers. So Hank and Dean are going to have some sort of cathartic ending to the story that they've been telling for the last 15 years. There's like, all right, so the reason for this, the reason why Adult Swim was like, we just can't justify financing you guys anymore, is because it takes them like 4 years to do a season. That's very much unprecedented in the industry. There's like it just doesn't make enough financial sense for a company to put out, or for a production studio to put out a single season every 4 years. I think even the gap between like season 7 and 8 was even longer. So yeah. It's sad but true. It's because they insist on doing everything by hand. It's because they insist on, you know, the things that make the show awesome and the animation awesome are very time consuming, and they don't have a large staff. I believe last I heard, and this was round about season 3, last I heard it's largely just Jackson Public and Army Hammer. I can't think of the other creator guy's name, and I'm going to get hung out to dry in the comment section for it. But yeah, Public and in the Doc Hammer, there we go. Doc Hammer, woo, I remembered. So Public and Hammer are largely the animators. They at least do all of the backgrounds themselves. I think there's an actual animation team, but still, if it takes them 4 years to get the backgrounds done and over to the rest of the animation team, it's still going to be 4 years before we see another 8-episode season, which sucks. It sucks for the fans. It sucks for the company who's trying to make money off of this. It just sucks all over. So yeah, that's why it is the way it is. Let's move to the next one. This one actually comes from shorts from last week. It is a reaction to Ottto, the band that is their bass player is Robert Trujillo from Metallica's son. So we got a couple of comments on there. First one comes from Tier 1 Gear and EDC Reviews. Tier 1 says they have Metallica money backing them. And then the next one comes from Chef BoyarDEEZ. And Chef says, Ottto sounds a lot like O.T.O, Ordo Templi Orientis. Wonder if it's connected like the rest of the music industry. So the first comment, I believe I addressed that in the short, or maybe just in the episode, I can't remember. But yeah, they have Metallica money backing them. That's why they have really good production value, but they just are not great at performing or writing songs. It's just not. If you want to see like the future of the Metallica offspring, Bastardane is actually a pretty legit band, and that's James's son. James Hetfield's son is in Bastardane, and it's pretty good stuff. It's a little doomy, stonery stuff, but yeah, I can dig it. Ottto, not so much. And then as for the second comment, I don't know who Ordo Templi Orientis is, but very specifically, the reason why they named their band with 3 T's, I don't remember if the 2 O's on either side have any significance or if they mean anything individually, but the 3 T's specifically have to do with the names of the 3 members of the band. I don't remember what their names are, but I do remember they all start with a T, and that's why there's 3 T's. So I would be very surprised if they put any more thought into it than just that. So I don't know, Google is a thing, I guess. So our next set of comments come from another short from last week, and this is the Suicideboys short. Suicideboys put a new song. I took the opportunity to do a little jab at Finn McKenty over at the Punk Rock MBA because he said some things we'll get into in just a second. So our first comment comes from Alex Cook. Alex Cook says, I love Suicideboys, but they are definitely not anything close to any kind of rock. And then our second comment on this one comes from Trips Mclovin. Trips says, you know what's really funny about this? Back in Louisiana 10 plus years ago, they were a metal scream punk band. So as far as Alex's comment, yeah, that was the point. They're not punk. Punk Rock MBA, Finn McKenty, he's the one that said they are the future of punk rock. Not so much. Future of DIY. There is a difference between punk rock and DIY. The two are related, but they are not the same. So calling somebody who is very obviously doing hip hop not the future of punk rock. I'm sorry. But to go to the next comment from Trips McLovin, yeah, I had no idea that was the roots that they came. I didn't know they came from Louisiana. I knew they come from the South. I just didn't know specifically they came from Louisiana. And also, like, they were a metal, screamy, punky band. That's interesting. I'm kind of intrigued to dig a little bit more into the early days of Suicideboys because I do know a lot of metalheads who have some sort of appreciation, be it they just don't hate them or they legitimately like love the Suicideboys. I know that's a pretty strong overlap in communities, so it's very intriguing to me. I would like to get deeper into it. I don't know when or if I will, but yeah, that's pretty cool. And then we get another quickie reaction for the Dope video last 2 weeks ago, maybe. I think the proper episode was 2 weeks ago, but the actual short went up last week because last week and a half was bonkers for me. But Esper van Arum is the one who left the comment, and Esper says, I have no idea what you are talking about, nor do I have an interest in dope. But damn, you have a genuinely nice vibe. Keep going, pal. Thank you, Esper. I appreciate the comment. I appreciate the view. I appreciate the just general good vibes that you're sending out there. maybe throw a subscribe in there and that'll help out even more. Yeah, maybe. It's entirely possible that Esper has already subscribed and just has settings set to private, so I can't see that he's a subscriber or she. But either way, thank you. I appreciate it. It's always good to hear good things, even if you're not necessarily interested in what's coming out of my mouth. You just like the way it comes. But yeah, that's what we've got for this episode of the Shoutout Show. So thank you very much, nerds. We will see you next week for more shoutouts. Until then, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.